Welcome to the Hot Rod Hangout Podcast.
Whoop, whoop.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Ashley.
And tonight we get to sit down with CEO and founder of MLToys Performance Ride-On Parts, Alan Placer. What's going on, man?
How are you, man? Good to be on the show finally.
Oh, just living a dream. It's probably a little warmer here in Florida than it is up there in Jersey.
It's been unbearable here. Never seen this many days of snow and ice on the ground. It's making toy con.
It's been bad because even down here, we got 2 or 3 nights in a row of freezing temperatures, and that's completely unlike us. It actually snow flurried at our house, which was crazy. So before we get into the business side of things, what originally got you into the car hobby?
I've always been a car guy. My dad owned gas stations and would bring home a different car every day. And he loved tinkering. And so I was into cars from a very young age. And my family owned a hobby store. And I used to be a firefighter medic, was at the World Trade Centers, and that ended that career. So I said, all right, I'm just going to go work in the family hobby store for a while to kind of figure out what I want to do next. And while I was there, I played with radio control cars. Always been into the RC end of it. And people used to keep calling the store and saying, hey, I got a Power Wheels that I want to make faster. You know, can I put your RC car motors in it? And after enough people called, I'm like, well, let me see how I can make this a little side hustle, and find the right motors that'll do it. And started, I had $200 to my name at the time. I was broke as could be, just getting divorced and, going through the bottom of life at the time. And said, all right, let me start this little side business up, and started, packaging up motors and selling them on a website. And then people would respond back, be like, hey, man, the motors were great. The car was faster, but ripped the gears out of the car. It was so fast. So I reached out to a, gear manufacturer and said, hey, we got these cheesy ass gears made of nylon. Can we make them out of steel? Is that possible, economical? And this company laughed at me at first. Everybody always laughs at you when you tell them what you're doing. And finally I got a company that was like, yeah, we'll give it a shot. And they started making steel gears for us, and they were a hit, and they made the cars way more durable, and it just kept growing. And I just kept listening to what people wanted for their little kids' ride-on cars, and making what they need, figuring out how to make it. I'm I don't actually make the parts myself. I figure out how to get the parts made. So we make electronics for the cars, we make tires, battery kits, all kinds of different things to make your kids' Power Wheels a whole lot faster. And we've been doing it for 16 years now. So it's a lot of fun, and it allows me to tinker on my real cars too. So
and that's kind of, you can contribute that or attribute that back to big cars, small cars, everything in between, because you kind of found, when you're building a car for performance, it's build it, all right, next weak link, that breaks, build it better, until you can basically start back over, and now you need more power to keep up with, it's a vicious cycle.
It is. And, I always love the people that are like, what's the best, cheapest upgrade I can do? I'm like, No. It's no different than real cars.
Yes.
You want the best or you want the cheapest. And it becomes an addictive hobby for the dads. But it's great because it's so entry level that, we don't have that for dads anymore, young dads, to teach their kids how to do mechanical stuff. Most of them aren't hopping under the hood of a modern Chevy and wrenching on it with their kids. So a basic Power Wheel cars, it's basic mechanical, basic electrical. And that's been the hardest thing with as I design stuff, is we make everything plug and play so that you don't have to solder, you don't need meters, there's no programming, and you bolt it in. And so you can do it with your kid. You become your kid's hero,
Hmm.
and you get to teach your kid mechanical and electrical skills.
Now, with the Power Wheel side of things, is it necessarily? I know we talked a little bit about the Fast Kids Club. Is it only drag racing, or is there other types of racing involved that people would use your product for?
Yeah, so drag racing has definitely gotten the most spotlight because a lot of it's done at drag race tracks.
Yeah.
Fast Kids Club, Oxford Power Wheel Racing has done an incredible social media job. So he's gotten a lot of publicity for the drag racing world. But there is lots of other form. Probably, I think the most popular, and you don't hear about it, is Smash Up Derbies. County fairs and stock car tracks that do smash up derbies, they'll hold the smash up derby race for the Power Wheels. And, some of them will do it, last vehicle standing, but these cars are so durable and not that fast, so they can smash into each other till the batteries run out. What we like to see them do is put a balloon on each side of the car, and last kid with the balloon standing wins. Down in Florida, there you have in St. Petersburg. There's Pro Karting Experience runs a monthly. It's a go kart track,
Okay.
and they run Toddler Dago once a month, where parents bring out their kids' Power Wheels and they run them on the go kart track. Go karting experiences where you bring your own ride on. It's also gotten more popular. It's probably the third most popular form.
Is you said that you were always into RC stuff. Is it a lot of is there a lot of similarities between that and the Power Wheels with bigger electric motor, ESCs and stuff like that, or is it more just upgrading to make them more durable to handle the extra voltage?
So there is a ton of similarity to radio control cars. It's bigger. We run two motors in a Power Wheel instead of one in an RC car. Bigger motors, higher voltages, higher amp draws.
Okay.
A lot of people don't even have a clue what amp draw is. That's how hard is the motor sucking the power out.
Yep.
Because, instead of an 8-pound RC car, you're running, up to 150-pound kid and, Power Wheels with the kid in it.
Yes.
So bigger gears, stronger gears, the electronics in them, same thing. Like when we first started in this, Power Wheels were what we call analog wiring, which is basically you got a battery, a gas pedal, which is an on-off switch, and maybe a shifter, which just changes from series to parallel wiring to go from high to low speed. So no circuit boards at all involved, and it was really simple then. Nowadays, the cars all have circuit boards in them, so the gas pedal is more variable control like your real car is. And to do that, we have circuit boards, and that made a real trouble on us when we're modifying cars, because if you have a 12-volt car and you want to drop an 18-volt battery in it, a circuit board is going to blow up when you do that. They're designed for certain voltages. Same thing, even if you just put a more powerful motor in, now you're drawing more amperage through the circuitry. So again, we're popping circuit boards. And it finally dawned on me. I'm like, well, we have these electronic speed controllers in RC cars. Why can't we just make a bigger one for Power Wheels? And instead of having a transmitter in your hand, you have a gas pedal and brake pedal. So we actually designed that. And, so now we have advanced speed controller systems for the cars that'll handle the increased voltage and more powerful motors, so we can make the cars. And it's not just about speed. It's also about the off-road power, for the kids in the dirt and the hill climbing and all, or trailer pulling. We want to be able to get up those hills and through the mud puddles.
And also, it's, since it's now the gas pedal isn't on and off, it's more of a potentiometer type setup. your kids are learning gas input, more gas, less gas, kind of getting them more prepared for a bigger car where that matters. It's not just a on-off switch of 0 to 100.
A lot of our kids, like in the racing world, they'll go up to junior drags or quarter midgets,
Mm-hmm.
and they do extremely well in it because a big piece of that learning curve is already dealt with
Yes.
before they set foot in the car.
So if someone was, completely unknowing, if someone was to say, I see, or you've mentioned, drag racing, circle track, road course type cars, off-roading. If someone was to say, build the ultimate ride or vehicle for their kid, the guy that's just got a deep pockets, is it still an affordable option, or is it getting now into where you're making the decision whether to just go-kart or junior or whatever? Is it still affordable at the top level?
Yeah, even at the top level, like the top dragsters, if you bought a car, like you can get cars on the curb for free or $50 at a yard sale. The car is the easy part. Putting all the parts in to get a dragster that, will do 40 miles an hour in 60 foot, because that's what they race at 60 foot, you won't spend $1,000. You can spend more doing a fancy paint job on one if you want. Any of the forms of racing. Like, I don't think there's a powered motorsport that's less expensive than Power Wheels to get into, and then to maintain, since it's electric, your maintenance cost is also almost nothing.
I didn't think of that. Yeah, so you just what is the week to week maintenance? I mean, is it obviously you don't have oil, you don't have gas,
but you got tires.
Tires, yeah.
Yeah, tires, not week to week for tires.
Right.
That and motors. Like if you're racing, you're pushing the motors right to the edge.
Yeah.
But motors are like $25 each. Like it's so inexpensive. Most people, they keep a bunch of them with them when they go to a race, and if they got to swap them out, if they get 60 foot out of a motor, okay, $25. My kid won.
Yeah, that and that statement right there fits it all too, because it doesn't matter what it costs, as long as we win, it doesn't matter.
Exactly. The drag racer in Power Wheels, just like in real cars, it's not 1%. Most people that modify a car, they want it because their kid is bored of the car. They're driving around in the yard, and now they're not using it anymore because it couldn't climb the hills or it didn't have enough run time. So most people, they don't have to deal with replacing motors all the time. You put the right system in the car once, and you can continue to upgrade the car. So as your kid gets older, you can make it faster and faster and faster. And then you can reverse engineer it for your next kid and put the slow system back into it when, the younger kid's ready to start driving.
What is, and I know it's going to vary on what your goal for the car is, but what would you say is the first must do for somebody that's they either their kid has outgrown the 4 or 5 mile an hour stock car and they just want what is the most bang for the buck, like first upgrade?
So there's two ways you can go for a first upgrade. What we like to see you do first is the motor and gearbox. We set them up as combinations. So, you get the motor already bolted into a better performing gearbox, because usually you put a bigger motor in, just like a real car, you put a bigger motor in, the transmission blows. Yeah. No different here. So you upgrade the two of those, you'll get some more speed out of doing that. The bigger advance in speed is when you up the voltage on the car. So that's the other way you can go first. Some people will go from 12 volts to 18 volts. Especially nowadays, everybody's throwing their lithium power tool batteries into the cars, and we make adapters that do that properly. You can put that in and then just run the stock motor gearbox till it burns out. Some people, that's a day. Some people get a year out of it. So it's, what's your budget?
And that was the lithium ion battery. You see that very common. That's kind of the for lack of a better way to say it, the redneck first upgrade is,
It became really, really popular during COVID. It wasn't a big thing before then. And, it sounds great to put a lithium battery in, but there's a number of issues. Your stock battery that comes in at Power Wheels is generally 9 amps, and we up that to like 12 amps. And amps is your running time. That's your gas tank. So, 9 to 12 gallons of gas. Your typical Milwaukee DeWalt battery is 4 amps, 5 amps. So you're cutting your runtime in half if you are keeping the voltage the same. But now you're going from 12 volts to 18 volts. So you're sucking down 50% more fuel on top of that.
Right.
So people are like, I only got 10 minutes runtime. It's like, well, yeah, that's what you get with a lithium battery right now, where technology is at with it. So we still prefer the standard lead acid SLA batteries in the car, but we get it. A lot of dads, they have a dozen DeWalt batteries, and they're okay swapping them out over and over again. So we created a module for the cars. Besides the runtime, some of the lithium batteries don't have a low voltage cutoff inside the battery, and so the kid would just run the battery all the way down, and it won't take a charge again. So our module has a low voltage cutoff built in. But then the other problem that we were seeing, we all know a lithium battery has 10 times more punch when you first squeeze the trigger on your drill. If anybody had an old NiCad drill, they were just weak. Same voltage. So that punch was just blowing the brushes off of motors and breaking gears and melting switches. So we put a soft start into that same module. So you get this module when you're going to go to a lithium battery, and it makes the car compatible for it, and you don't kill things.
Now, is there tuning? Like, can you tune the motor, the ESC, for like a different ramp, or is it kind of, it is what it is at this point? Because I remember racing RC cars, I remember being able to tweak the motor a little bit, or get a little bit out of it,
So we have different motors that you can put in for different speed levels or torque needs. The speed controllers, we don't give that option on right now, because parents are inherently stupid, and they would just open it wide up, and we'd have kids running 20 mile an hour into trees, and they don't get it. We also, a lot of these Power Wheels nowadays are remote control, and they go 5 miles an hour. Well, when you put our upgraded systems in, the remote control won't work anymore, because you're not a good enough driver to drive your kid 15 miles an hour.
No.
And so we don't want anybody to be killed.
Right.
So right now the programming isn't there. It's something we've considered adding in options for, but we just make it so that it has, a good, like on the gas pedal, if a kid just stomps on it, it'll still ramp up the throttle. You can brake wheel and spin tire. Yeah. We're car guys. We want it to spin a little bit.
Right.
And same thing with the brake. It's not just going to put the kid's head into the windshield. It'll give it a little softer brake too.
Okay, so it is built into your product to ramp and deramp, acceleration and deceleration, where it's not just a on-off, like an abrupt. Because that would probably, I was thinking that would probably break. That would be big. A big jolt, even on steel gears. You're still a big jolt of power because like you said, everybody that's got a newer impact or drill or any of those, it's got a little bit of punch in the beginning. So,
What we lack in a Power Wheels still today, and we haven't come up with an economical one, is a clutch. So, if you have the electronic speed controller system in it, you're using basically an electronic clutch.
Right.
Your traditional old Power Wheels with the on-off switch, the spinning tire is the clutch.
Yeah.
And, these guys that all add bicycle tires to their cars, they're eliminating the clutch. They're getting a ton of traction right up till they rip the transmissions out of them. So that's been the balance level, and it's hard because some kids are on pavement, and you can't even just say pavement, asphalt concrete, different, and then you got dirt, grass, and of course, kids don't just stick to one. They're going to drive across the road, across the driveway, across the lawn, and we got to make it compatible for the real world, not just what us as dads who want to do stupid things to the cars. Well, we got to put our kids in the cars too.
Yes. And that's, I remember, and you said it earlier too, and it struck me, parents are silly sometimes, and, oh, my kid can handle it. And no, we can't. Or especially car guys. We always think that, I got this.
Yeah. The drag racing community is really struggling with this right now. Because, like I said, they're hitting 40 miles an hour in the 60-foot mark.
Crazy.
And, we're talking about 3-year-olds. Yeah. 3. So they're getting into safety concerns. How much, faster do you let them go? But it's racing, so it's about speed. So bracket racing is becoming more and more popular now because of, the limits that need to be imposed.
Well, and that's the same struggle as big car racing. The tire technology for a big car isn't capable of 330 mile an hour. So let's back them down to 1,000. Okay, well then they just start doing 330 at 1,000 feet, and you're like, well, that didn't work. Oh, we'll take fuel away. Oh, well, now they went faster again because it doesn't matter what you do. People are going to strive to get back to where they were. They're going to push the envelope. They're going to innovate. And we watched a video. Like I said, we seen them at FL2K too. But watching videos and, like you said, little 3 or 4 year old kids carrying the wheels for, half track. And the back tires are spinning and it's on the bumper, and you're like, okay, that's aggressive.
I'm a big fan for real cars of let them go as fast as the driver is willing to let them go, because the adult can pick or choose if he's willing to take that risk.
That is true,
but you can't make that decision for your 3 to 5 year old kid,
and you can't count on them to make the right decision either.
No, they're terrified sometimes.
Oh, and I mean, I know that growing up, I always wanted to be the fastest, so I was always willing to kind of let it hang out a little bit past comfort zone to, like you said, the two guys with the tricycle, they're gonna run. The first drag race was the day the second car rolled off assembly line.
Yep, exactly.
It's just what we do. So, on to your, you said you still mess with big cars. Mm-hmm. What's the car that got away? All car guys have that car that we either sold or couldn't put a deal together on and missed it ever since.
Well, there's been too many, unfortunately. My first car was almost a 76 Stingray. I couldn't come to terms with the guy because it had a clicking rear end and he wouldn't drop the price. I knew that, we're talking about in 87. He wouldn't drop the price $1,000 that I knew it would cost to put a new Dana rear in it. And then I think the other one that got away was my first car because I was too young and dumb. I had an 84 Pontiac Grand Prix that we pulled the motor out of and put a Corvette 350 into it. Did a custom paint job, custom interior, thing was fast as hell, but I just never got the combination of motor, trans, and rear end right. And then college came along, and that car just had to go. But I miss that car. I'm a big Grand Prix fan. I have a Grand Prix still today,
Okay.
newer one, and all custom modded out.
So is that the current favorite car?
I struggle with it. So she's my love. When I came home from the World Trade Center, I had blown up my Subaru getting to the Trade Center. So this was 2001. The Grand Prix came out in '97. The W body, and I had always wanted one. So when I got home, I'm like, fuck it, I'm alive. I'm buying one. So that's the one I currently still have today. Was the car that I got when I came home. And it's on its third motor. It's been fully restored now. It's got a Jasper 3.8 V6 Eaton M90 supercharger. It's all ported out. I just did a couple years ago, new paint job on it, roll tube suspension, bigger brakes. Everything's done on it. It's a beautiful car. Love that car. And I would love to say it's my favorite car, but damn it, when the summertime comes, I've got a 2-door Bronco, 2021, number 5,000 produced. And when you got the roof off on that thing and the doors off, you just want to take that out in the summertime.
Yeah.
So I'm having a blast with the Bronco still. What are we, 4 years into the Bronco now? I think so.
Yeah, around that.
Yeah, I just raced a C7 Corvette with it, and it's a stupid fast vehicle.
Yes.
And then I have an RV now that I love too. I'm just such a car guy. I'm like, I gotta have that. That's big and that's fun.
Yeah.
Motorhoming's a whole different, car driving experience.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, unlimited budget. What's the dream car?
Right now, I think about this a lot. Like I'm ready for another car, and I like unique cars. Obviously, if I'm playing with Pontiac Grand Prix, and I just can't, I grew up around '69 Camaros, and I like something that stands out. And honestly, if I had to get something right now, Kindigit Designs retro Corvette in electric. How freaking cool is that thing? So that would be my number one go. Although the tiebreaker for that, I'm not that old. I'm only 55. I've always wanted a Duesenberg. To have just that gigantic long hood with the chrome pipes sticking through the back, through the sides. You never see them on the road anymore. But like a Duesenberg rolling chassis now is $250,000. Yeah, it's unobtainium.
Oh, and that's a lot of, and I've had this conversation with, your generation, your age range, and people talking about like, oh, young kids aren't into it. I'm like, well, we can no longer go pick up a 57 Chevrolet for $125 like y'all used to be able to do. Y'all can't. And I blame a lot of it on TV shows. I blame a lot of it on these auctions. And don't get me wrong, I would love to have one of those cars, but they're unobtainable. You got, the Lincoln, a couple weeks back, $1 million Lincoln. The dude bought it for $80,000 3 months ago and sold it for $1 million at Mecum. And all that means is there was two guys there that really wanted the car. But you see guys, oh, I'm going to get to that one day, or, oh, that's $20,000 because Richard Rawlings on TV paid $20,000 for one that was worse than this one. It's like, no, Discovery paid $20,000 for that car. He wouldn't have paid that. And if you watch the rest of the episode, he lost $30,000 trying to put it back together. So the Grand Prix or the newer cars are the ones that kids that are now coming of age to be able to start modifying a vehicle, you're going to start seeing a lot of 4th gen Camaros because it's what a kid can go, pay realistically $4 or $5 grand for and do stuff to it.
My kid, he's 26. He's in North Carolina. I'm so jealous. He's got a MX-6 or Miata that's strictly for the track. He does, road course and autocross racing with it. And then he's also got a Toyota 4Runner strictly for off-roading. Because in North Carolina, you're allowed to have fun with cars. But he grew up also in a culture. He grew up, with me tinkering on cars and working in the family hobby store. I think the majority of kids don't know righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. I actually hired a mechanic once in our shop that, he was ASE certified. And after 3 weeks, I'm still telling him, you're turning the wrench the wrong way. And finally, I was like, how do you not know which way to turn a wrench? And he says, well, because the ones in the shop had a little arrow and said tighten and loosen. So there you go. That's what you get at ASE certification today.
And it's, and me and my dad both, my dad's an ASE master tech and all this, and he always said that ASE tests are or ASE certified just means you're really good at taking a test. Because the test is designed for somebody that actually knows what they're doing to not, because it's like technician A says this, technician B says this. Well, they both could be right. I'm not looking at the car. Like, it's not in front of me. If I had it in front of me, I might be able to make that decision. But who's most correct? That's the best one.
The younger generation just has to not have that fear of working on the cars.
Yes.
I mean, my God, there's a YouTube video for every single thing you want to do on a car. We didn't have that with my Pontiac.
No.
And, the cars will learn a lot of what you do without programming, until you get down to like the camshaft level. You want to put a cold air intake on and stuff like that. The computer will adapt to that kind of thing. Yeah. And nowadays they also are making cars where you can work on them again. For quite a while in the 90s, early 2000s, they were specifically made so that you had to take it to the shop to get it worked on, specialty tools and things like that. And I think because we don't have as many mechanics anymore and they had to make things easier on the dealerships, they reverted cars back to being able to be worked on. So, if there's younger kids listening to this and they're afraid to go wrench, go wrench. You can always undo it. The great thing about righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, you can put the screw back in, put it back together. You'll be back how you were before.
Well, I mean, Gene Winfield is famous for it's metal, cut it. We can put it back together.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of it is, and I've said this numerous times because I've had people like, oh, well, I'm looking to get into this. What should I go do? And I'm like, well, if you're looking to get it into a car, buy something running and driving that you can tweak. Yeah. Okay, it's got a brake noise. Does it run and drive? Yes. Buy the car. Do brakes on it. Now you learned how to do brakes.
Teenagers reaching out to us, and even high schools reaching out to us, wanting to modify Power Wheels to learn how to work on real cars. So, you want to learn how to work on a real car? Go get one of those $50 Power Wheels at a yard sale and modify it. You got nothing to lose. It's really easy, and it'll give you the confidence to do the next harder thing.
Well, and a lot of times, if you, because my car was, or my Cadillac was a prime example of this. The kid got too deep. It was a running and driving car. Transmission gave him trouble because 60s Cadillac transmissions suck. And he was going to do an LS swap. And he got to the point where the motor and trans were sitting in the car. Not bolted in, but it was sitting there. And he couldn't put it together. and he would work on it for a little while, like his Cadillac Kings. He was part of Cadillac Kings. They'd come and help him do a little bit of stuff, and he'd get back pumped up about it, and then it would taper off. And then I'm going to sell the car. So they'd come back over and they'd help him get back pumped up again, and then they'd taper back off again. And I caught him when he was tired of the car. So I got the car, and when I posted the video of it running and driving or rolling under its own power, and he made a post like, "Hey, I'm so glad that it went to a good home." I said that I told you that night it was going to go. I said it might take me a little while. And, because that's when you buy a project, you didn't take it apart. So a lot of it was like, where did that go? Or how did that come apart? So I can try to put it back together the correct way. So there's so many different, like you said, YouTube, not a lot of forums are left. There's still guys that track on the forums. But you have social media. There's a group for basically anything.
Every car has a Facebook group.
Yes, and
there's Cars and Coffee. You go to, you meet people.
Oh, and also that's a good point. Is there's also so many different avenues of gaining knowledge, because car culture, like you said with your son, you can enjoy cars in North Carolina. You can't enjoy them so much where you're at because of all the inspections and the thises and the that's. And then you come down to Florida and it's the wild, wild west.
We had a guy sink his pickup truck in a lake that, driving it out on a frozen lake the other day. And it broke through and it sank. And he got off the thing before it was all the way gone, and walked back to the shore. One of the tickets they gave him in New Jersey
polluting the water,
was leaving the scene of an accident.
Oh.
Like what? He's supposed to go down with the ship?
And it's different, even the type of car culture, because doing this, I talk to people all over the country or continent basically, and Cars and Coffee, even in the same state. I was just talking to a buddy today, and they're moving back to Jacksonville from where we live, or close to where we live. And I'm like, yeah, well, and he's like, yeah, my mom and dad are over there. And he's like, they actually have real Cars and Coffee. He's like, over here, we don't. Nobody really wants to get out and do it. And it's weird because I live 20 minutes from one of the largest retirement communities in the country, if not the world. And I work in there. I'm in there 99% of every day. And there's so many cool cars in those garages. And I, of course, being a car guy, want to talk to every single one of them. And 90% of them don't drive their cars anymore. They own them just to say they own them. And I say you can enjoy your car any way you want to. But it's a shame because some people, some of these cars, you're not going to get a chance to see it. If you don't, probably the only Duesenberg you'd ever see is if Jay Leno brought his out. Because all the rest of them are either not together or in a museum somewhere.
Yeah, they're never on the roads anymore. You're not at any car show I go to. No.
Well, and it's because of how valuable they are. It's a risk to take it out. And that's why I've always, shiny paint causes me stress, even though my Cadillac is going to be custom painted and shiny. But you make a car so nice that you don't want to drive it, or you're scared to drive it. Her car, we've owned it for 3 years now. I think it's got like 6 baths, and 2 of them was because we were putting a protectant on top of it to shine it up a little bit before we went to a show, and it had to get washed. Other than that, we get in it and we drive it, and it's a 1954 Chevrolet 210. Still has 1954 paint on everything but the roof, and it's not shiny no more. It's got its rust. It's got its little. Some of the paint is flaked off. Some of it's still hanging out, and you pull up somewhere. You pull up to a gas station, and it invokes an emotion because the older generation see the car. They think it's so cool that it's out because they identify with the car. Even a non-car guy or a non-car girl sees a 50s car and goes, oh, my husband took me on a date in one of those. It might have been a Ford and this might be a Chevrolet. But all she knows is 1950 cars look like bubbles and that one looks like a bubble. That's it. Or a kid will walk up, what is that? Because they've never seen one. They've never been exposed to it. Or my Cadillac lays on the ground. You walk up and amazing. Old people love it because they're like, oh, they've never seen it. But then they also see this clean, classic car and a younger guy gets out of it. Or my wife, if she drives something, it's, that's a big one because it's like, oh, because they expect me to get out of it. A bearded, burly, roughneck looking dude, and this girl gets out of it. Same with my truck. It's the same way. But there's such a disconnect between, oh, it has to be this and it has to be that. It doesn't. It just has to be what you enjoy.
Yeah, I like the variety. I like the uniqueness. Like even within a 69 Camaro.
Yeah. I
love a mint Yanko never restored Camaro.
Yes.
But I also love what, Kindig Designs will do to one, or Chip Foose, and then just to see one that's never been restored on the road. Like, how cool is it? Even an 80s car now.
Oh, yeah.
When you see I saw a Pinto on the road the other day, unrestored. Like, holy cow, nobody ever rear-ended that thing and blew it up? What?
And it's so funny. And other than the last 69 Camaro that Kindig designed, other than that one, I've liked everything he's ever done. That one that he did for this year, I do not support.
I didn't
that.
see this year's. Okay.
Don't look it up. It'll hurt your feelings. But
you got to try. When you were asking me about my ultimate car, I want a 69 Camaro on a modern Camaro chassis. Can't be done, apparently. Yeah, they do it with Mustangs, but apparently the Camaro, I forget it's the length or width, it's so much different than the original that nobody that I've seen so far has made the conversion look
There's
right.
a company up near you, Roadster Shop, that builds a chassis for a 69, and they put the new LT1 motors in them. But you're also looking at 25 grand for a chassis. There's no quick swap because the Camaro, the newer Camaros are wide. They're really wide.
That's what it is. Yeah,
really wide. Whereas well, yeah, and that was kind of what when they come out, that was what they were trying to do. They wanted to be that all-purpose. You could go put it in a corner at 80 and it'll stick. It'll also go fast in a straight line. Mustang's that platform has always been, if you were going to build a drag car, it was a drag car from factory. And it come with a 4-link, basically. So, and that's, we lost, which should be a positive, we lost the brand, back in 60s and 70s when muscle cars were the thing. It was Mopar, no car. It was a Chevrolet, it was a Ford. There was no I like that. No. It was you pick a brand and you stuck with it. And majority of the time it was because your dad drove one. If you were a Chevy guy, it was because your dad was a Chevy guy because his dad was a Chevy guy. And now they've all gotten to where It's the same with NASCAR and the top drag racing even. You can no longer identify that car that's going around a track. There is no more win on Sunday, sell on Monday.
It's all done.
Yeah,
that's actually kind of bringing it to full circle. That's one of the things we're looking to do with the Power Wheels is to make that brand identity. So we're coming out with our own line of vehicles next.
Awesome.
We have them in the works already, where we're making the first line of ride-on cars designed from day one for you to be able to modify, like we did our
Yeah.
When you bought a muscle car in the old days, you probably had a shopping list of what you were going to change on it as soon as you got it.
Well, I mean, some of them came with it in the trunk.
Yeah.
The drag pack cars, you had slicks in the trunk and you had headers in the trunk from factory. They weren't going to put them on for you, but you had them. You could put them on when you got to the house. So that's awesome. So is that, is it and excuse me, because I don't know Power Wheels, is it a kind of like a ground up chassis design, or is it more of a, because I don't know, I don't even know, do they have chassis?
No. Yeah, they actually do. Yeah, nowadays they didn't used to. It used to be the plastic. They were like unibodies.
Okay.
But it's gone to chassis nowadays. So we have three things coming. First, we have a fire truck coming out. Just because that's a simple profit-making, easy thing to do. We actually bought an existing mold on that, so we can't take all the credit for the body, but we switched out everything under the hood to our equipment, so it can be fully customized and modified. But that's helping fund the bigger project. We have a street car that looks kind of like a Model T bucket. It's got a big old Chevy 350 in the front with the blower on it,
Cool.
Big slick tires in the back, and you'll be able to fully modify it. It's going to have light up intake, light up exhaust, and you'll be able to put wheelie bar on it for the drag strip and tons of upgrades for it. And then we also did an off-road car specifically designed for off-roading. You can run it in the street. But that's actually modeled off of like a 1980s radio control car. If you're into the old Tamiya, car kits, or like a California dune buggy kind of look, where one kid sits in it and it comes as 2-wheel drive. It's plug and play to make it 4-wheel drive if you need that, so you can get more power out of it. And again, more powerful motor options, gearing, battery, and we're really hoping it brings a revitalization. For a couple of years, it'll just be in the Power Wheels, but then that's going to build the confidence to maybe modify a mountain bike or a dirt bike, or powered dirt bike, and keep on going, and then help reinvigorate the car world with a generation that wants to wrench on cars again.
Very cool. That's awesome, and that was a question that I meant to ask you earlier. I know the off-road one you said is plug and play for 4-wheel drive. Is that something that people are doing on an aftermarket basis?
No, converting to 4-wheel drive has been very elusive for people on the ride-on cars. Just the way the front is, geometry is designed. There's really there are cars now that are made 4-wheel drive. That some of the cheaper models coming into the country, but no, converting from 2-wheel drive to 4-wheel drive is really not easily done.
Okay,
you need welding skills for that.
So then you are essentially building a chassis to chassis swap kind of. It's not just a put a diff in the front and call it a day, like some of the RC cars used to be.
No. So yeah, we started ground up. I sat, and thank God for AI, makes things easier. Yes. I sat and did designs on AI, and then went over to the company we work with that makes our modification parts. And I thought this would be easy. I'm like, all right, well, we make tires, we make transmissions, we make motors, we make electronics. We've almost got a car, right? No, we don't. No.
All that's left is everything else.
Exactly. And, things you don't think of, like the ergonomics of fitting, a 3-year-old versus a 7-year-old in the car. Mm-hmm. And making the seat adjustable, and like our on-road car has a telescoping steering wheel to fit different size kids into it. And we actually wound up, and I love this technology, we printed full-size version of the cars that kids can sit in, so we could work on those ergonomics and make sure that, okay, we say, like, for instance, going four-wheel drive, well, how are we going to make that geometry really work to get a gearbox that's turning, because we're not using universal joints. You don't, right. The less stuff that can break, the better.
Right.
So we need the gearbox to turn with the wheels electric, so think Tesla style. But, we're doing it in a car that's basically like a quarter scale car. You got a lot less room to work with. So once you 3D print it, you can really work out a lot of the stuff that just looking at on a computer doesn't really solve. And that's the stage we're at with those cars right now. It's really cool.
3D printing has changed a lot of the game. I just picked up a switch panel that I had a buddy 3D print for me to test to see if it was going to work for future projects. And he was like, "Oh, we should have printed it this way." And I'm like, "Okay, well, for the next one, we'll learn."
That way, yeah. And a lot of people with the ride-ons, they think that that's the answer to everything. Oh, the gears break, just 3D print a better one. No, 3D printed material, there's limitations on what you can 3D print right now. It's getting there. We know the 3D printing metal and carbon fiber, but at what cost?
Well, and also the direction of the print. Because he printed the switch panel, basically the face down and printed it up. And it's an L bracket type bracket. And he was like, "Oh, if I would have stood it up where it would have built the L going vertical instead of face down," he's like, "then when you're flipping your switches, it would have been going with the print, not sideways." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I didn't think of that. I just sent you the file, and I would never have thought of that until he's showing me, and I'm like, oh yeah, you can see the line, and this will be the weak point, which you can run angle brackets to fix it on this one." But like I said, it was just a test of concept. So a
lot of what I've done is, like I said in the beginning, I come up with the ideas. I have to find the processes to make those ideas happen. Elon Musk didn't design the Tesla. No. He found the people that knew how to make the components work. I'm no Elon Musk, but that's basically what I do.
Yeah, and it's a lot of that is facilitating, the process. I mean, the Kindigit that's been brought up a couple of times in this episode, he designs the car, but then Kev Dog and the rest of his crew make his vision a reality.
Yeah.
Or as close as you can get. Because there is limitations no matter, we'd all like to say like, oh yeah, it's possible to do this. Well, you're limited by material, cost. Like you said with the gearing, when you call somebody up, hey, is this even cost effective? Because, if the gear's going to be $50 a piece, you're like, well, that's not really... you're putting a $50 gear on a $25 motor. You're like,
It's tougher because with a real car, you say a $50 gear. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Your kids' Power Wheels. How much are you really going to put into it? Yeah.
So where can people find you? Social medias, websites. Go ahead and plug all that.
Sure. Social media, we mostly do Facebook. MLToys on Facebook. Also, we have a Facebook group, Power Wheel Addicts. So you can talk to other people building Power Wheels, modifying them. Our website, MLToys.com. We make it really self-explanatory. There's a big how to modify a car that you should read before you do anything. And then we break it into either upgrades by category, if you're just going to scratch build your own thing. And then we have it as upgrades by vehicle. So if you already own a ride-on car, you can look on there and, we'll tell you what things we already know work on your car. And there's a lot of cars out there now, so we spend a lot of time, getting them to work. We also have, for you, we have a podcast coupon code, Hot Rod Hangout. If you guys do want to get anything on the website, just plug Hot Rod Hangout in on the checkout, and you'll get an extra 10% off, even on any sale prices we got going on.
Thank you. And I'll make sure that Ashley puts that down in the show notes. And I just went over and liked your Facebook page, and we'll definitely make sure that that's all down in the show notes. And for all of our listeners, go buy some stuff to make your kids' toys fast.
Have fun as a family.
And that's another thing. It's a cheaper way of getting a family thing, because it's not just male and female, or just not just sons. It could sons and daughters, or dads and daughters, moms and daughters. It's cool that it's attainable for everybody. It's not a because a lot of times, you look at the price of dirt bikes or four-wheelers or side-by-sides. I buy a car for that.
Yeah. I will also tell you, when you mentioned in the drag racing world, the girls generally do better.
They have better reaction
at that
times.
age, the girls have more attention span and more focus. Mm-hmm. So they'll launch a Christmas tree better than a boy usually.
Well, before we get out of here, what is one piece of advice that you would give somebody that's trying to get into the car culture, whether it's big cars or the Power Wheels?
Don't let fear stop you. That's it. So never let fear, and that goes to anything in life. If fear is the reason you're not doing it, that's the wrong reason. There's plenty of good reasons. Just give it a try. People will help you. Community will help you. Make relationships. It's fun.
Well, I really do appreciate you coming on and sharing that with us. And I'll make sure that all that information gets put down in the show notes. And look forward to maybe catching up with you if I ever get up. If I ever get up your way, or you're down here, man, holler at us.
Absolutely will. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for having us on.
Yes, sir. Till next time, guys, get out and drive your shit. Later.